All right. Good afternoon, Corona Days Professional Development Group. It's me, Danette Edwards, and I am thankful that you all are here. I'm sorry I'm a little late. Thank you all for joining us. I'm here this afternoon. I am here with Roxana Radulescu, and she is going to lead this afternoon Emotional Intelligence for Sustainable High Performance. And I'm sorry, my dog is in the back whimpering. She's whimpering. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so let me tell you a little about today's presentation before I turn it over to Roxana. All right. And of course, my computer is freezing. Come on, open up. All right, guys. So this afternoon, Roxana is going to talk to us again, emotional intelligence for sustainable high performance. She's going to cover what do we mean by emotional intelligence anyway? Why is it beneficial for our professional success? And how can we develop it? A little about Roxana. Roxana is the founder of All Personal, a bespoke training, coaching, and consulting Canadian company. All Personal works with corporate, small businesses, and non-government organizations and helps them build game-changing teams and cultures. All Personal also provides global online group programs for professionals who want to build and develop their management and leadership skills to create dream careers, dream teams, or dream businesses, and change the future of work for the better. Roxana is a TEDx speaker, so we are in for a treat, okay? A certified trainer and master coach, having worked in international Magic Circle law firms for 16 years and having led the firm-wide learning and development department for 8 years. She started her consulting business in 2017. Roxana is also a course designer and instructor on workplace communication, culture, and success with York University and College Boreal in Toronto. She is also an author of online courses and ebooks available on award-winning e-learning platforms. I am going to immediately turn it over to Roxana, mute myself, and close my camera. And we're going to do a dedicated Q&A at the end, guys. All right, Roxana, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Oh my God, thank you so much for this introduction, Danette. It was never ending. I realized that I need to shorten it down. Okay. So I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. And what we will do is, yes, we'll talk about emotional intelligence. We'll talk a little bit about high performance, and we'll see what the connection between the two of them is. So what I'd like to ask you is definitely, at any point that you have questions or comments to make, please absolutely make them. So you can use the comments if you're watching this on Facebook, please use the comment section to ask questions or make your suggestions or comments at any point in time. All right, so I will also be sharing my screen so we can start in style and we can start to talk about emotional intelligence and see what it is and how it helps us, um, especially in sustainable high performance. And you'll see what I mean by that. Okay, so I wanted to, I know Danette already introduced me. I wanted to just let you know a little bit about my journey so far. as as she said, I'm the founder of All Personal, and I do love working, especially with teams and also to with mid to senior managers, and typically with professionals who want to develop their skills muscle further, so that they are successful, so that they build the successful career they always dream to build, or the successful business, a successful team, especially when we talk about people and management and leadership skills. So I love to work with people on their journey of developing their skills muscles. And a little bit about today. So I'll show you. the top skills that bring you back in the driver's seat in 2021 and beyond, and then the importance of emotional intelligence for high performance, and some self-care techniques. We're diving right into the season, right? The season for joy, for cheer, but also the season for kindness and generosity, and especially towards ourselves, because we need to recharge and relax so that we're able to perform at high levels again in the next year. And I think you all agree with me when we say next year we're all hoping is going to be so much better year than 2020 was. And I'm going to share some more resources with you and for you at the end of this presentation. All right, so how do we take control over our emotions and actions and results? And that in 2021 and beyond, right? That's the question. I mean, think about it. We are in control of what we feel, of what we think, and of what we do as a result of that. So let's see what the top skills to train for are. And I already started with a myth, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because, and I'm sure you've heard this all before. Here are the top 5 skills that you need to master, and then you're good to go. Or here are the top 5 things that you need to do, and then you'll be a perfect manager, or then you'll have the perfect career. And hey, I want to stop right there because it doesn't work this way typically, right? So I can put the skills right here, and we will get adaptability, people management, change management, time and project management, or business mindset, right? Okay, fine, perfect. But look at this, under adaptability, we also have emotional intelligence, self-care, and creativity. I don't think that comes as a surprise, and especially in the context of what 2020 brought for all of us, I think definitely you're not surprised here. Then for people management, we have communication, teamwork, and collaboration, which in turn, so these are really, really big skills that also have a lot of other skills that compose them, right? That make them such an important skill to have. So actually, the top 5 skills, as you can see, are not just top 5 skills because it's way more than that. And then look at this. You can say, okay, these are the critical skills for game changing leaders. And I look at this, and these are for instance, the 8 courses that I have that talk about these top 5 skills on the left hand side, right? So you have emotional intelligence, coaching and mentoring, expertise and employee retention, career development, responsible initiative, change, time, and project management. They all relate to these top 5 skills in high demand. And if we move further, we also have a lot of other skills underneath all of these courses. Like if you look at leadership skills for 2021 and beyond, it would be already 13 topics that we can talk about when we talk about leadership. And each of them will have other skills that you need to learn. So that is why I say, hey, top 5 skills, that's a myth because it's always more than just that. That is the conversation. Where do we start to learn? Where do we start with development? What would be a good place to start from so that we know we're going to benefit from that moving forward? And if you look at all of this list, what I say to people that I talk to whenever people ask me, okay, what do I need to do for professional and personal development? I tell them, yes, start with emotional intelligence because you have a lot of top 10s and a lot of top fives that you might be hearing about. But what I say is start with emotional intelligence. And why? Well, because of this. Because, and I love this quote and I wanted to share it with you. Emotional intelligence is the difference that makes the difference. A lack of emotional intelligence is what limits some people in their ability to manage themselves, manage others, or manage situations. And that comes from the director of innovation at Microsoft, J.D. Meyer. And I love this quote because it really captures what emotional intelligence is all about. I think we talk about it a lot, but we don't define it enough. And hey, yeah, because I worked with lawyers for more than 15 years, that's where I learned that you need to define things before you start talking about them so that we all understand what we're talking about here. So this is what we're talking about a skill which if we don't have or if we don't develop, that might actually limit us. It limits our capacity to manage ourselves, manage others, or manage situations. And here's even more if you're not convinced. I mean, I'm not trying to convince you, but I guess I am a little bit. Um, so here's why it's important for our career. Here's why emotional intelligence has such a huge impact on our career. There's this study done by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development in the UK. And this is done, by the way, before the pandemic. That says that nearly as much as 80%, 80, right? That's huge, of the reasons why careers are derailed can be traced to weaknesses in emotional intelligence. And here's the deal. There are three primary causes of career failure by the same study. Poor interpersonal skills, people who are not good team players, and people who have difficulties in handling change. And it's okay, we say career failure, which means that either I don't get to what career I envision for myself, or even worse, I get there, but I cannot stay there because I simply don't have the skills that maintain me there. Or I just get to that point and then I'm stuck. There is no sense of development, moving forward. That is what we, of course, that very much depends on what we perceive as failure. But typically, as human beings, we would perceive failure as the lack of progress, right? We're doing something over and over again. And as people, we do expect some kind of progress. And then when progress doesn't happen, when it's not there, we are going to feel this kind of perception. We have the perception of failure because we're not moving forward. So it's important right here, since you're watching this, just stop and think what your idea of failure is. Because failure is not that, I have this big goal and I'm not there yet. But hey, I've made a lot of steps on the way there that will eventually take me there. Failure is when I tried and I made an error and I never kept trying again, and so there is no progress anymore. And yes, there are also three predictors of career success. So, and that relates to our ability to deal with a diverse range of issues, to manage emotions, and also to manage social skills. And we talk about, yes, managing emotions, managing social skills, a whole lot. But now think about you and again, what your perception of success is. And also think about people who you perceive as successful. Maybe this helps. People who you perceive as successful and what makes them successful in your opinion, or what helps them be successful. You can think about that. A lot of thinking here. That's why I love emotional intelligence, because you can do it at any point in time. And it's just going inwards and trying to reflect and notice what happens and what my perception is about things. And then I become aware, because that's the key. And that's why I say that it all starts with ourselves, because it really does. It starts with self awareness. Um, because when I notice what my reactions are, what my emotions are, what my behaviors are. If we go back to what we just talked about, think about what my perception of failure is and what my perception of success is. That's a lot, because that already starts the process of us just building that emotional intelligence skill muscle. And I say this because I really believe that our skills are like our body muscles. And we don't expect our that we go to the gym once a year and then just because we went once, we're going to be fit and our muscles will be in perfect shape. And there you go. That's it. It's done. So why do we expect that our skills muscles are gonna work this way? No, our skills, the more we practice them, the more we use them, the more we build them up, the more they're gonna show up when we need them most. That's why it starts with self-awareness, with understanding, hmm, what are my strong skills muscles? And what are my dormant skills muscles, the ones that I don't like using too much because it's painful. Because exactly because I don't use them too much, that's why it hurts when I try to use them. Because hey, I'm not used to using them. So, what are my strengths? What are my points that I want to improve? That's self awareness. Understanding how I react in situations that are uncomfortable or difficult for me, and understanding from my reaction what benefits me and what doesn't benefit me, and what would I would like to change. And if I want to change it the next time that I'm in a similar situation, then what do I want to change it with? What behavior do I want to use in a similar situation that is different from the behavior that I have today and which doesn't benefit me? And then when I understand that, that's when I can do a little bit of self management. So that's when I can start managing emotions, because I recognize them and then I can manage them. If I don't know how I feel, how I react, um, what behaviors I have in one situation or another, how am I going to be able to manage that? How am I going to be able to self manage? And then once we're done with these, then we can move over to becoming more socially aware. We talk about social skills a lot, but we don't realize that social skills start with ourselves. And that really is what emotional intelligence does. Because when I'm able to understand how I function and how I react, how I feel, how I think, that's when I can notice others around me and understand, pick up cues pick up the body language that helps me understand how they might be feeling, what they might be thinking, what they like, what they don't like. Just the simple fact that they like something in that particular situation, I will be able to pick that up. Maybe even without them expressing it verbally, but showing it through their body language. So that is social awareness. That's when I start developing empathy. Just picking up that feeling of how they might be perceiving that situation. Are they comfortable? Are they uncomfortable? I'm picking up everything that they say, but even more than that, stuff that they're not saying because maybe they're not there yet. They can't express it verbally, but they do express it with their body language. Whenever we're shocked about something, sometimes we express it through our body language first and then verbally. And that's when I'm able to manage my relationships better. So, in a nutshell, if we want to manage our relationships well, we manage ourselves first. We manage ourselves well first. There's no other way around because it comes like this. It comes from self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship management, or it comes from self-awareness, self-management, and relationship management. And these are the main four emotional intelligence pillars, if you want: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. And it really, really starts with ourselves. And I want to have some fun here with those of you who are watching, but even doesn't matter when you watch it, you can go through this exercise at any point. So looking at managing emotions, right? So self-management and understanding the six fundamental emotions, which, oh, sorry, which by the way are happiness, sadness, disgust, anger, surprise, and fear. So these are fundamental because they are expressed universally. So there are loads of studies around how people express emotions in different areas of the world, in different countries, continents, cultures. It really doesn't matter. We're a bunch of emotions, and it really doesn't matter where you are, because you're gonna express them very, very similarly. And it's not, you guessed, it's not verbal communication, but it's all a lot of body language, and not even full body language, but just the face, the facial expressions. So if you look at these pictures, and by the way, I want to give credit to my daughter for these amazing images that she created, especially for the emotional intelligence workshop. So looking at these pictures, try to guess the emotions. So I'm gonna put them back on. So happiness, sadness, disgust, anger, surprise, and fear. You can note them down if you want. And then just look at the images and try to guess them. Try to match the emotion to the image. And I'm going to tell you a little story as you are thinking about it. My daughter, the one who drew these images, when she was about 2 years old, was practicing crying and smiling in the mirror, if you can imagine that. So she was looking at herself in the mirror crying and seeing how she looks as she's crying, what she looks like. And then also smiling. And she was doing that. She was alternating between the two emotions and observing the face and how it changes and what it does. So that was I think in one way or another, when we're kids, we kind of do that and we notice a lot. We take a look at everyone around us and we just notice and notice and notice and just, you know, get everything in, all of that kind of information. And that's how we learn. And we start looking at ourselves and we notice and notice and notice. And then we become more socially intelligent as we start noticing our own emotions and reactions and ways of dealing with stuff. Okay, so I hope you played the game because I'm gonna put the labels on the images. So happiness, I think, was easy to spot. Here's anger. Anger is typically um, a frown in the eyebrows like this. Um, sadness. Sadness is just all of the face drops. It's the eyebrows, the corners of the eyes, they all drop down. In surprise, we just get eyebrows are lifted and big eyes, right? That's a surprise. And then you have disgust where we do the frowning, but we also use part of the nose because we just lift the upper lip because we don't like it. It's like when we say imagine yourself when you say ew. That's it. And then fear. Fear is very similar to surprise, only that the eyebrows are not lifted. They're at the same level, and then the mouth is open a little bit wider than in surprise. So if you guess them, congratulations to you. That's a super good start in your emotional intelligence development. If you didn't guess them, don't worry. You can work. The good news about emotional intelligence is a skill that we can work on developing forever because it really, and then once it's developed, it stays there. Okay, awesome. Hold on. From Rhonda on Facebook. During my early years in the corporate field, I was unaware of how much emotion I was displaying. At the time, I didn't know that you shouldn't take things personally. Oh, yes. Um, no, that's, we all do that. So it's not that, I mean, yes, you can have, that's why the people who play poker practice a lot of that poker face. That is well known because, hey, you have to really practice to be able to hide these because these are visible in milliseconds, not even in full seconds. It's our body's instant reaction. And yes, Rhonda, yes, your body language says so much. Oh, yeah, we communicate a whole lot without even saying anything. Just a look and you know how things stand. And the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more you're going to notice and the more helpful that's going to be. And yes, Leah is my daughter. She's 13 now. So yeah, um, she's a becoming artist. So thanks for asking. Okay, so I have an exercise that I wanna. Yeah, thank you. I think she's a great artist too. So here's an exercise that I want to share with you, and you don't have to do it now. I will be sharing the slides, by the way, with the net and the Corona Days, the professional development group. Actually, I think I can put it in on Facebook so that you also have this exercise, which you can do at any point in time, and then you can share it with your family or maybe on your team, because it's really interesting and a great exercise for self-awareness. Just think about some situations, being stuck in traffic, burning your finger, receiving a compliment, and all of that, and what your reaction is. to that. What goes through your mind and what's the emotion? Because the thought triggers an emotion. And because of the emotion, we behave one way or another. So that's the trigger. So if you want to change the behavior, you go and observe the thought and the emotion so that you can actually do something different the next time that you're in a situation like that. If you want to change the behavior. If you don't want to change the behavior, that's great. That's perfect. At least you know what works and what doesn't work for you. So why then do we say that emotional intelligence goes well with high performance? And well, because it does, because the whole emotional intelligence bit, that's a lot of self-care. And by self-care, we go back to self-awareness and self-management. We notice a whole lot about what we wish we did better, stuff where we wanted to be better, that we wanted to be better at, things that we can't do and we should do, or we think we should do. But we rarely take time to observe what we're good at and just appreciate ourselves for the stuff that we're good at. And we rarely take time to really fill our cup. As it says here, you can't pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself first. That's self care. That's self love. And that's a lot of emotional intelligence. And it's like the oxygen mask on an airplane, right? You need to put it on first so that you can take care of people around you. It's the same thing. How long can we keep pouring from an empty cup? And sharing this from my days as a half marathoner, not that I can't run half marathons now, but this one is from 2013, my days of running half marathons. That's in Bucharest, Romania. One thing I learned, if you don't prepare properly, you won't be able to sustain this kind of performance long term. My knees gave up, so I couldn't run half marathons in the long term. I just thought, hey, running a half marathon, how complicated can that be? You just run and that's it, right? Well, no. For high performance, you really need to prepare. So one thing I learned is whatever it is that you do, think of yourself as a high performing athlete, because there's a full high performance cycle that we're talking about here: preparation, performance, and recovery. So it's not just the performance, it's everything. It's the before the performance and the after, and it's on three levels: emotional, physical, and mental. And now think about the athletes that go participate in the Olympic Games. Now, the Olympic Games are every 4 years, well, except you get a year like 2020 and you have a pandemic and then it's postponed by another year, but that doesn't happen too often, right? Anyway, Olympic Games every 4 years. You're a high performing athlete. You don't start preparing for the Olympics a week before or a month before, right? As a high performing athlete, you prepare for the full 4 years up until the time comes for you to go to the Olympic Games, and then you have 2 full weeks of high performance during the Olympics. But for me to be able to perform at high levels during the Olympics, then I need to have all of the preparation that I can have, and I need to know some techniques for me to recover after one race, from one race to the next, so that I can perform at a high level. And then I need to be able to recover and be able to pick myself up if, let's say, I have a bad day today in the race today, but then I'm going to compete 2 days from now. And I need to be able to pick myself up again, emotionally, physically, mentally, so that I can perform at high levels 2 days from now. I don't have time to waste. I don't have time. I cannot allow myself to just go home because I had a bad day. Because I prepared for 4 years to get me to that point where I need to perform at high levels. So whenever you're thinking about high performance, think about what you do for yourself to prepare, to feel prepared, and to also recover after important projects or tough times during your career. What are your strategies? What techniques do you have in place that help you deal with situations, like with difficult situations, especially with situations that require a whole lot of you, a whole lot of energy, a whole lot of mental strain, a whole lot of emotional stamina? That's where self-care really, really shows the benefits. That's where emotional intelligence, knowing what helps us, knowing what drives us, and what helps us when we don't feel the drive, when we don't feel the motivation, when we have a day where we're feeling down low and we do have to attend that meeting, we do have to talk to the client, we do have to deliver a pitch. What do we do then? How do we seize that moment when we're not at our best? That's where self-care comes in. So that's why I want to share some emotionally intelligent self-care strategies with you today. And I'm not gonna shoot you, by the way. I don't like shooting people. 'Cause, and by the way, try not to shoot yourselves either. Because how many times have you told yourself, I should do this, I should do that? How many times have you actually done it? Yeah, that's why I don't like to shoot myself and I don't like to shoot people. But here are some ideas of what you can do, and then you can try them out and see what works, see what doesn't, and adjust. So, what I do encourage people to do, and that again is for long performance, for for high performance long term, or long performance high term. Can you say that? I don't know. Anyway, um, morning, day, and evening routines. And some of them you might already do. Some of them might be a new idea, but here they are. So, in the morning, meditation. And meditation, again, we think about meditation as something super complicated. It can be just breathing exercise, just focusing on your breath. What it really does is it calms your mind, the monkey mind, that mind that has to do something, to be busy all the time because it doesn't want to take that inner journey, and it doesn't like self-awareness. The monkey mind is not the emotionally intelligent mind. So that's one thing that you can do. Another thing, reading or listening to something inspiring. So if the news doesn't inspire you, don't listen to that. Listen to something inspiring you. Journaling or recording. If journaling by writing things down doesn't is not your thing, you can try voice recording. Why journaling is good is, apart from the fact that you literally get to download your mind and you can see it there, you can also measure progress. So if I look today, I've been journaling for a while. I look today at what I journaled 2 months ago. Chances are I will see some progress along the way. So talking about our need as human beings to see some progress, to see that we're moving forward, that helps. Exercise. Well, when we talk about routines, typically we think about exercise. So definitely any kind of exercise. And that might be anything that you do, yoga, running, workout, walking, biking, whatever works for you. Try to do it at least 5 days a week. And I may add here, don't think about exercise as something that has to last for hours and hours. If you only have 10 minutes one morning for a quick yoga stretch or workout, just do that. So try to plan all of these around your schedule so that it's not unrealistic for you to do that. If you have 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. If you have half an hour, do half an hour. It doesn't have to be 1 hour or 2 hours of exercise every day. That's not going to be, if it's not possible, if it's not realistic, why would you even think about doing? And power poses. Now, power poses I love, and I'm gonna share a link where you can get some more of that stuff because they literally help you change perspective, can change through changing your body posture just because you're changing what you're looking at. When we're sad and low, typically we look down and we don't want to be seen, so we look down at the floor. And then if I change my body posture, just looking up and seeing something else, it will absolutely change my perspective, but it will also change the way I feel. So just shaking a little bit of that old energy and getting into a new kind of energy, that also helps. Now, at noon, just take 5 and appreciate yourself. Just think about something that you really did well. Because again, how many times do we say, oh, I should have finished that. I wish I had more time to do that. I wish I had completed that project. We think about all of the stuff that we still have to do or the stuff that we could have done differently instead of looking at what we accomplished. Okay, what's one thing that I did well today? There must be something. Oh, I was pretty productive, or I really handled that call pretty well. So just that. And then do a power pose. Again, it shakes a little bit of that old energy, especially when you get a bit tired after lunch. It's good to do a power pose to invigorate yourself. And breathing exercises. And I'm gonna leave a link to the breathing exercises, which are good before you have important presentations, important meetings, important pitches, phone calls. They're great because they prepare your voice. You're gonna have a better, more influencing voice on a call, especially in the morning if you do a little bit of breathing exercises, and it also helps with your level of energy and with calming yourself down before you actually start speaking. And then in the evening, think about 5 things that went great that day. And again, you can journal, recall, or record them, whatever works for you. Listen to a meditation or read. Whatever you do, though, try to get off your device an hour before bed. Once, because of the blue light that does not let us get into that relaxing state that we need for sleep. And even if we do get a filter against the blue light, what actually happens when we scroll down like that on our mobile phones or devices is that we get a lot of adrenaline and dopamine that do not, again, those are not the kind of hormones that drive us into that relaxing state that we need for a good quality sleep. And now think about you again. You're this high performing athlete. How are you supposed to perform at high levels tomorrow if you don't get good quality sleep? You don't think about, I don't know, basketball players, football players, tennis players, like that they don't sleep before um, a game that they have, a match that they have the next day, right? Why, why don't we think of ourselves as these high performing athletes? We can be our own team of coaches, nutritionists, psychologists, and everyone who's helping these high performing athletes if we just take some steps that help us take care of ourselves and be consistent about it. Talking about consistency, my call to action for you is this. Choose your morning, day, and evening routine, okay? Apart from practicing emotional intelligence with the exercises that I shared. And then schedule your routine in your calendar. Why that's important? Because your private activities are your business. The way, and we saw how this affects everything that we do, right? We don't sleep well, we don't eat well, we don't prepare, we don't take care of ourselves. At some point, things are going to go bad. Or when things go bad, we don't know what to do to pick ourselves up again. So whatever you do, schedule your routine in your calendar and make it work for you. Again, if you only have 10 minutes, use those 10 minutes. Schedule 10 minutes one morning. Schedule 30 minutes the next morning. Schedule an hour on Fridays, if that works better. I don't know. You know your own schedule, but book it there because that's where you see it. That's how you see it. And that's what's going to help you actually get down to work. And then you start with a 30-day practice. And during those 30 days, you can monitor what works and what needs to be changed. Definitely embed those changes and schedule the next 30 days and see how that works after you've done the changes. Whatever you do, allocate 90 days. And here's why I'm going to say, here's why New Year resolutions, which by the way, we're going to start making soon, that's why they don't work because we don't give them enough time. Because the reality is, it does take, you know what they say, that it takes 21 days for us to form a new habit. But the reality is that it takes way longer to integrate change and new habits. We have to give them time because the first 30 days are going to be hard. The next 30 days are going to be messy. And only the next 30 days are going to be beautiful because we're not going to be experiencing the benefits right away. We're not going to see the results right away, right? It's like going to the gym. It's like, okay, I need to be slimmer. I need to be fitter. And I need to go to the gym once, twice, 3 times a week, every week, so I can see some results. It's the same thing here. And we need to allow time for us to experience some of those results, to actually see some of those results and benefits. And that's only possible in time. So whatever you do, whatever your routine that you're choosing is, allocate 90 days for you to form and integrate that habit into your life, into your schedule. And that's when it's going to be really beautiful and you're going to reap the rewards. Okay, so that's it for today. If you want more of that, I have a free masterclass series that talks about, it starts with emotional intelligence. As I said, it all starts there. And it goes all the way through to power poses, breathing and diction, manage time, manage your team, manage change, and some self-care strategies and power of community and the higher purpose. So if you want to watch it, I have the link here. So, and these are some more resources for you for self-care, for high performance, the self-managing and the breathing exercises as well. And okay, that's it from me. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna wait if there are any questions.
Right.
Right.
Thank you, Roxana. Let
Yeah,
me
thank
make
you.
sure, why am I hearing myself double? I'll make sure I'm just closing everything else. Guys, if you have any questions, please drop them. There are comments in the chat on Facebook. Roxana, I'm going to ask you, can you send me those links so that I can post them in the group?
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I will send the slides and the links and everything.
Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. And I'll share them in the group. All right. Thank you so much. And I'm so sorry that I was late today, guys. This was a treat, a definite treat. You are our first TEDx speaker. So we always have first here. I am so honored.
Yes.
Yes. And I told you, I love that lipstick. I also love your hair color. I really, really love that hair color on you. I meant to tell you that first time we met.
It's gonna be a
Yes.
little bit bluer for it's gonna get bluer for the holidays,
All
but
right. Okay.
the lipstick was for you, for everyone here today. So
Well, I think it looks great on you. I have my questions. I'm gonna jump into those while, and then if anyone, guys, if you have anything, drop it in there. You know how it goes. I'm gonna start with my questions. Again, thank you, Roxana. I really appreciate this. I think this is very, very helpful. It's going to add a lot of value to even for me. I struggle with my immediate reaction to stuff, and oftentimes the first way I react um, is not always appropriate in some situations, and so I know that I am constantly working on developing my emotional intelligence muscle. I am always working on that. Listening, when we talked about listening, me listening more, being more perceptive of the way people respond in situations, and letting their response uh, not be reactive, but letting their response guide my response. So if I know that someone is responding and they're expressing apprehension or fear, that I ensure that I try to bring that down, right? I don't add to that. Or if they're upset, or like that, I don't add to any negative. And so that's been something that I have actively worked at over 20 years, probably more so in the last 10, when I realized that I can help to make a situation better by the way I respond, both with my body language and my words. So thank you.
process. It's a process,
Yes.
and we can keep doing it because it's not. It doesn't. That's what I love about it. It doesn't stop, and it just goes better. And it's
Mm-hmm.
it's a skill muscle that stays with you, and you can use it at any point,
Yes.
anywhere. It
Yes.
doesn't go anywhere.
Yes. Yeah. So I have three questions for you, and we may have some from the group members. And guys, Roxana is in our group, and I will post all of her contact information. Please connect with her. So my first question, Roxana, is Corona Days Professional Development Group. Part of our mission is that we serve people who are from marginalized groups and BIPOC individuals, people who are Black, Indigenous people of color, but specifically for marginalized groups, I want to ask a question. So I ask everyone this question. If throughout your journey, have you ever been marginalized? And if so, could you share that with us?
Um, Well, you know what? I find it really interesting because I realized that I was, and I didn't know I was, or I didn't even think I was. I grew up so my background is like I grew up in Romania, in Europe. It's a former communist country. It's
Mm-hmm.
from the East Bloc, and so definitely as communism fell in 1989. That is, I was 12 at that time. So until then, I didn't know much about the world in general because there was no way out. We were just living in Romania, and then that's it. It was really hard to get out of the country. Um, but then, as the borders opened, what happened was there was this huge gap between the communist bloc and the rest of Europe. So as we started to get out more and travel, and the typically you would be getting some kind of reaction or another depending on where
Mhm.
you go. But it's a lot of judgment and preconceived
Mhm.
ideas that
Yeah.
come with a simple answer to the question where you're from. And
Mm.
it depends on what the experience of the person asking you this
Yes.
is with people coming from the country that you're coming from. So, and I have to say, like, now we're in Canada and we immigrated here in 2017. And I was lucky to have good experiences here when people were
Mhm.
asking where you're from Romania, and they were like, "Oh, I like people from Romania, and I know a lot."
Ah, mhm.
And I was so happy because I would be getting a different kind of reaction
Mhm.
I was in Europe in some of the countries there who didn't particularly
Yeah.
like me. So it's and being an immigrant,
Mhm.
uh, sometimes and I mean, Canada is a very diverse and very open
Yes,
country,
it is.
uh, and it does wonderful at integrating people and helping them
Mhm.
feel integrated. But I think, and I never, like, if I compare with us going, traveling in Europe and people making a face when
Mm.
where we're from, I didn't get that here.
I
It's
love it.
what you get is the lack of Canadian experience when you come as a new immigrant.
Mm.
That can be a little bit marginalizing. But other than that, you don't get it. You do. I mean, but I didn't think about that too much
Yeah.
until,
Mhm.
oh, okay,
Okay,
that's
it
how.
happened. Yeah. Yeah. And I asked the question, I asked the question of every presenter here because uh, I want our members and anyone who catches this on a live stream or a replay to know that if they feel that they have currently been marginalized or were marginalized in their past, and that that is something that is holding them back or negative, that they can see that not a woe is me, not take pity on me, I've been marginalized, but that we have people like yourselves. I mean, you're a TEDx speaker, you have this business. You immigrated in 2017, just 3 years ago. Okay, there's a lot that you have done, and coming from a communist country that communism fell in 89. It's a lot of accomplishment, right? And I want our members to understand that if they are currently feeling marginalized or if they have ever been, that they can draw strength from your experience, from the experience of our professionals who come to present to them. So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah. No, and it's a great question because it really depends on how you perceive things and how you think about.
Mm-hmm.
I came here and I said, okay, I had a dream,
Yeah,
and
all right. Yes.
one of them was to go and speak at a TEDx event. So I just
Ah,
started. I never thought I can't go and I can't apply to speak at a TEDx
yes.
event
Yeah.
because I'm an immigrant, because
Mm-hmm.
I come from this thing, because this, because that. I just started to look for them and I started applying, and then they said,
Right.
"Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, we
Yes.
have you." As I never thought about me being a woman and not being
Yeah.
able to do it. I never thought about it this way.
I love it.
So in this in in this case, I think communism helped because with
Hey,
communism,
yes.
everyone's equal, and then but it was equal in that doesn't let you express your personality too much.
Mm-hmm.
But as a woman, you still have to go to work. You still have to
Let's
do
do it.
everything guys were doing because it didn't matter that you were a woman.
Yeah.
Uh, you were just a comrade. So
Mm-hmm.
so I never thought about myself not being able to do things because I'm a woman.
Yeah, I love it. I love it that even that is a definite benefit and plus that came out of communism for you, right? So no matter what anyone feels ideologically about communism, right? But that is definitely something that worked very well for you. You took strength in that and brought that to a democratic country, right? And made it work for you. I love it. So my second question, Roxana, is if you can go back and consider your career journey, or even your journey uh, in Europe or your journey moving, immigrating to Canada, if you just look at your whole journey and you can go back to your younger self and give yourself any advice, what would you give? What advice would you give a younger Roxana?
Speak out. That's what I would tell her. I was a very shy kid.
Hmm.
I actually had very much trouble talking to people. I had much trouble making friends, and was typically very reserved and wouldn't say much. I had a lot of activity in my mind, but
Mm,
was more internal than external. And then slowly, I started to make friends. But what I would say is just don't be afraid to express what you have to say, because what you have to say actually might be very helpful for somebody else who needs to hear that. And I thought, I very often thought, well, everybody knows what I'm thinking. Everybody, it's just common sense. Why would I say it when it's so obvious? Um, and what I would say now is what's obvious to you is not necessarily obvious to the person next to you.
I love it.
So unless you express it, they're not gonna know, and it might actually help them a lot.
Yes, I love it. Um, so we have a couple comments I just want to share. So Rhonda says most of us were not taught the importance of self-compassion, and this is so true. I battle with that a lot to be nicer to myself, kinder to myself. Um, and Judy says, thank you for the wonderful presentation, such an inspiration. Um, yeah, I think this is a wonderful presentation. And along those lines where you say, share it, last week we had someone come on and say, what you think is small to you may be major to someone else, right? And so that's why we should share share our thoughts, share our gifts. We think it's so easy to do something or easy to think something, or maybe you take it for granted that you think away and may think that everyone else sees in that way, but you could really enlighten someone by sharing your thoughts, sharing what you're doing, sharing what you know. So I definitely appreciate that. And my final question today, Roxana, is if we could only have one takeaway from this afternoon, what would you want us to walk away with?
Um, I have a motto that I love, and that's actually what gave the name of my business as well, because I took the good old saying, nothing personal, just business.
Yeah.
And I really think that it's all personal and nothing is just business. And
Mm,
it's about taking it personally. It's about how we make things personal.
mm,
It the fact that it all starts with ourselves. It starts with self-awareness and, by the way, absolutely self-compassion, self-kindness. That the more we have of that, it's like a bucket. We
yes.
fill that bucket with all of this good stuff, and then we can share it with everyone else around us. If the
Yes.
bucket is empty, we have nothing to share.
Sure.
So that's why I say it's all personal. It's never just business, because it's all about people. It's about people talking
Yes.
to each other, connecting with each other, and
Mhm.
really making each other feel like they matter. And there you go. That's it. That's
That's it.
all that matters. You don't need
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Roxana. And your bucket is overflowing. Okay. Your bucket is overflowing. Yes. And
Well,
guys,
great company, that's why.
guys, I told you guys last Monday I was recording a podcast. I was recording with Roxana, and it's funny because people were saying post it up. I said it's not yet. It's not live. Like wait, when it is available, I will share it with everyone. And you guys know I always ask for feedback when I'm on the podcast. So please give me some great feedback. Roxana, this I love. I love talking to you. I look forward to us staying connected and doing something together in the future. And I myself am going to check out your masterclass. So I will check out your masterclass. And I'm also, when people check it out in the group, I'm going to see if I hold a discussion and we talk about it, what we've gained from that, just so that we can keep the dialogue going and help one another. I really appreciate you. You're welcome to come back anytime you like. You are a friend of CDPD. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for all the comments and questions and everything. It was lovely to be here. Thank you so much. And have happy holidays,
Yes,
everybody.
yes, you too have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. All right, Roxana, you take good care. All right,
Bye.
bye bye.